So that's great. I love this I made. There's a small slug notches here and some.
So I am here in my burnt house with our engineer, King Little, and I'm just going to kind of ask him a few questions and just see kind of what made him get started in engineering and why he wants to do it, because we have some pretty extensive engineering going on in my house project. So King, when did you get involved in engineering?
I've always kind of been interested in it.
Okay.
Whenever I was a little kid, we'd drive by like a construction site or something, and I'd see all the scaffolding and all the form work and things. I always was really curious of what it was.
Yeah.
So I've kind of always been like into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think by the time I was in high school, I knew I wanted to go into, I thought architecture, and I did start in architecture and get a degree in architecture, but I bounced around a while, got a degree in civil.
At UNL then?
At UNL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I ended up doing mostly wastewater and water chemistry. Olson Associates, who I worked for, they got the Northeast Sewage Treatment Plant. The project manager there just said, well, I'm going to have you design the pump house building entirely, you know, from footing all the way up.
Cool.
You know, and I kind of, well, you know, and I said, yeah, okay, and I loved it. And so from there on out, I took pretty much all the structures they had and gobbled it up, you know, and everybody gave it to me.
Cool.
When I graduated in the summer of '77 with a degree in civil, I realized at that point that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a structural, not a civil engineer. And they were running out of structural work. So I interviewed that fall down at UNL, and I got a job down in Kansas City with Black & Beach, a very large engineering firm, in their power division structural department to do very, very, very big. And that's about it. I stayed down there, worked there, and went to a couple different companies. Met my wife, came back, started a family, started teaching at the university in the architectural department and the civil department, concrete and steel.
Cool.
Was working for Olson Associates again as their chief structural for about 3 years, and they asked me to come on full time, and I said I still want to teach, and they said, well, we need someone who's on full time, so I quit and went out on my own. That's when I started working on my own.
So how long ago was that?
1991.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be 26 years this November.
Very
and
cool.
Had one 2-year-old and another baby on the way in 2 months, so it was kind of a big leap, but it worked out good.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
It worked out good.
I know you have kind of you obviously have a passion for what you do. Where does that come from? Is there like a story in your background that makes you want it that way? Is that how you were raised? I mean, what's the reason why you love what you do so much?
As a structural engineer, there's not much room not to be good at it. You have to be good at it, or at least a reasonable competency, because if you're not good at your job, if you don't take it seriously, the consequences are too drastic. When I was down in Kansas City working, I lost 2 friends in the Hyatt Regency skywalk.
Oh my gosh.
So after that kind of changed the community and how things were done down there.
For sure.
Used to be everything could be done by shop drawings. Well, after that, all the structural engineers of record had to do the connections themselves. That's why I'm really big on connections.
Yeah.
So I kind of brought that back with me. And particularly when I started doing the code review for the city of Lincoln in '95, which I've been doing now about 22 years, that was one of the big things I focused on. I hammered, some of the other engineers in town, if they weren't clear on what their connections were, I said, well, and I could also say, after that collapse, I started studying failures across America, and I have all these journals I get, and I started reading them, and it became very abundantly clear that when there was a failure, and when there was loss of, or great bodily harm and loss of life, and most of the time it was not one of the members, but it was connections of the members to each other.
Interesting.
And so one failed, the one next to it couldn't carry its load, so it failed because it's no different.
Yeah.
And then you start getting a progressive failure, collapse, and you lose somebody. So I almost quit structural engineering when I was down in Kansas City. I said, I don't know if I can take this. I don't know if I can take this pressure. I don't know if I want this responsibility.
Yeah.
And so I had to make a decision. Do you really love doing this as much as I think you do? And I did. And so I said, well then, pony up. You got to do it right. There is no other way to do it.
Yep.
So
cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Well, thanks for sharing, King.
Yeah.
So you'll probably hear a little bit more from him later, but we'll be taking pictures of all the beams and everything that are going in, and those are all product of King. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We would love it, and we would appreciate it a lot if you like this video, to like it and subscribe down here or over here or wherever that thing's gonna be. So reach out to us, tell us what you thought, and we would love it if you would.